You have probably heard the folklore by now. It is almost an industry myth at this point. The idea that the junior developer is the one frantically copy-pasting from Stack Overflow or spending their day prompting ChatGPT, while the senior developer is this mystical figure who writes complex algorithms from scratch in Notepad using a light theme without ever missing a semicolon. We tell ourselves these stories, but that is probably the biggest lie you were told at the start of your career. If you still believe that the gap between you and your company's tech-led is just the number of frameworks they have memorized, or how fast they type on a mechanical keyboard, or how many shortcuts they know in code, I hate to break it to you, but you are aiming at the completely wrong target. It is exactly because of this limiting belief that so many talented developers get stuck. They hit a ceiling at the mid-level plateau, or, even worse, they get the senior title on LinkedIn. They get the pay bump, but they continue delivering junior-level value, which eventually leads to burnout or imposter syndrome because they know deep down they aren't playing at the right level. Today, I want to deconstruct the software engineering career path with you, piece by piece. I want to prove to you that the code, the syntax, the if statements, the loops, the dependency injection is actually the least important part of the transition to true seniority. We need to talk about the 5 invisible layers that separate those who just complete tasks from those who actually solve problems. If you want to stop being treated like a code factory, a feature vending machine, and start being seen as a strategic engineer, pay close attention, because the mindset shift starts right now. Let us start by analyzing the most common scenario in our daily lives. A new demand comes in. Let's say we need to add a button to export a PDF on the financial report screen. How does a junior's brain work in this moment? It goes straight to the how. The immediate instinct is technical execution. They ask themselves, which library do I use to generate the PDF? Is there a ready-made component in React? How do I center this button in the div? Will this break the layout on mobile? The focus is on the anxiety of seeing the thing working on the screen, of seeing the pixel in the right place. And don't get me wrong, this is in the beginning of your career, your main mission is to make it work. You are paid to turn requirements into tangible features. But now, observe how the senior thinks when facing the exact same demand. Before typing a single line of code, before even opening the IDE or creating a branch, they think about the WHY and the what if. They ask, why do we need this PDF? Is the user going to print this physically? If it's just for archiving data, wouldn't a CSV or Excel file be better? It's lighter, faster, and allows the finance team to actually manipulate the data later. And what if 500 users click this button at the exact same time during the end of Mon close? Can the server handle generating 500 heavy PDF files in memory, or is it going to crash the entire application and lock up the checkout process? The real difference here isn't knowing asterisk how asterisk generate the PDF. The junior knows that, or Google teaches it in 5 minutes. The difference is that the senior anticipates the disaster that the code might cause asterisk before asterisk it is even written. It seems contradictory, but the truth is, the more senior you become, the asterisk, less asterisk code you should be writing. The junior writes code to prove they know how to show effort. The senior writes code only as a last resort to solve a business problem. The senior knows that every line of code added to a project is a line that needs to be tested, maintained, documented, and eventually will cause a bug. The best code is the code that needs to be written because the senior convinced the product manager that the feature was inefficient or dangerous. This brings us to a second crucial point: tunnel vision versus systemic vision. When you are a junior, your world is your Jira ticket. Your task is fix validation on the sign-up form. You enter the tunnel, focus on those 3 specific files. Fix the rejects, commit, push to PR, and feel that satisfaction of a job well done. But the senior has a panoramic view. They understand the domino effect. They know that touching the validation on that form might break the legacy data import script that runs every night and uses the same validation class but with different rules. The real difference isn't the validation code itself. It's the ability to maintain a mental map of the entire project architecture. The junior sees isolated trees. The senior sees the entire forest, and often sees that the forest is on fire in the left corner while everyone is looking to the right. A practical example of this is when we find a bug. The junior's instinct is to apply a patch, a quick fix, a dirty if statement that catches that specific exception and moves on. The senior looks at the same bug and thinks, this isn't an isolated error. It's a symptom that our database modeling is wrong. If I write this, if now, I'll have to write it in 50 other places next month. We need to stop and refactor the base. You see, the code for the if is easy. The hard decision is stopping everything to refactor to avoid future headaches. It's the management of technical debt. Juniors create debt unknowingly. Seniors decide consciously when and how to pay that debt off. Now let's touch on a sore spot for many talented developers. Communication. And I'm not talking about being an extrovert or giving keynote speeches. I'm talking about translation. The senior is bilingual. They speak tech and they speak business. Imagine the site goes down. The junior runs to Slack and says, we have a null pointer exception in the user auth service due to a race condition in Reddit. The product manager, the CEO, or the client looks at that and thinks, okay, so what? What does that mean? Did I lose money? The senior analyzes the same situation and translates the technical problem into business risk. They say, the login system is unstable. New users can't sign in, but those already logged in can continue purchasing normally. The estimated fix time is 30 minutes. We are acting to mitigate the impact on sales. The senior doesn't say we need to upgrade Angular because version 12 is deprecated. They say, we need to update the system to avoid security flaws that could expose customer data next year and lead to lawsuits. If you want to be a senior, stop trying to impress non-technical people with complicated jargon. No one cares if you're reusing Kubernetes or Docker Swarm if the cash register is you entering. Your value lies in aligning technology with the money the company makes. There is also a simple math to measure seniority, which we call the multiplier effect. Juniorades. They join the team, take simple tasks, and deliver X amount of work. A senior multiplies. The real difference isn't the code the senior produces with their own hands. It's the code they help others produce better. If you add the hero programmer, that lone wolf who isolates themselves in the corner with noise-canceling headphones, solves everything alone at 2 a.m., documents nothing, and writes code no one else understands. I'm sorry to be blunt, but you are not a senior. You are a risk factor. If you get hit by a bus tomorrow, the project dies. That is irresponsibility. The true senior unblocks the team. They do code reviews not to criticize or stroke their own ego, but to teach and raise the team's quality bar. They create documentation so people don't have to ask the same question 10 times. They define standards so the junior's code looks professional and safe. And then there's autonomy. The junior asks, what do I do now? The senior says, I saw we have a performance issue in the search API. I'm going to solve it using a catching strategy. I need 3 days. Agreed? This senior doesn't wait for tasks to fall into their lap. They seek responsibility. And finally, to close the fundamental pillars, we need to talk about resilience and security mindset. Programming is an activity inherently frustrating. Things break, but more importantly, things are attacked. A junior thinks about how to build a feature so that it works. A senior thinks about how to build a feature so that it cannot be broken or exploited. This is a massive shift. When you look at an API endpoint, do you just see data transfer? Or do you see a potential SQL injection point? Do you see a gateway for a hacker to bring down your infrastructure? To truly reach that senior level, you need to understand what is happening under the hood. You cannot rely on frameworks to do the heavy lifting for you forever. You need to understand the scripting, the logic, and the vulnerabilities. You need to think a little bit like a hacker to be a better builder. And this is where most people fail. They learn the syntax of a language, but they never learn the deep, structural foundation of computer science and security. If you want to accelerate this transition from just a coder to someone who truly understands the machine, the network, and the security architecture, you need a solid blueprint. That is exactly why I want to recommend the Hacker's Blueprint. It is a 3-in-1 beginner's bundle that is perfectly designed to bridge this gap. It's not just about hacking, it's about understanding systems. It covers Python 3, which is essential for automation and back-end logic. It covers ethical hacking, which teaches you the offensive mindset so you can build better defenses. And it covers cybersecurity, giving you the knowledge to protect the business assets we talked about earlier. This bundle is the shortcut to getting that deep knowledge that usually takes years to acquire through trial and error. If you want to stop guessing and start engineering like you mean it, check the link in the description for the Hacker's Blueprint. Grab the bundle, stop coding for the compiler, start coding for the business, and I'll see you on the next level.